Hey everyone, it's Mike here from Steel Green Manufacturing. And today we're back in the shop with our machine that we've previously installed the hydraulic lift system on a different video. And today we're going to be installing a couple attachments or going over that. Number one being the Snowplow and the second one being the Rake system. Okay, so items that are going to come with an SG Snowplow kit will be the plow itself with the angle cylinder attached to it and hydraulic hoses, the two rear wheels that are more aggressive for traction in the snow, a wiring harness for the light bar with a fuse for the fuse box and a rocker switch, the LED light bar itself, two 2-inch wheel spacers. These are going to be used only for the SG 36 and 42 models to make these larger back tires fit. Tools required for this installation are going to be two 15/16 wrenches, a Phillips head screwdriver, a 1/2-inch impact with 13/16 socket to change out the rear wheels or add the spacers, and lastly some zip ties and a pair of cutters. We'll also discuss installing an SG rake. In order to do that, the only tools you're going to need will be the two 15/16 wrenches. All right, so first step for putting the plow on is going to be to take the plow itself and slide it into the receiver on the lift arm, and then we'll just simply use our two 15/16 wrenches and the nut, the nylock nut, and the bolt that runs through this to connect that. If we were putting a rake on, this will be the only step you have to take, is sliding the rake in here and bolting it through. So let's take this plow, put it in there, line up the hole. You can utilize either the sideways or the vertical hole. The vertical hole will be a little better because it'll keep the head of the bolt and the nylock nut skinnier for tire clearance as the tire spins around, so you don't have the head of the bolt over here on the side. Just put that in there and tighten it up with our wrenches. Just get it through that nylock. No reason to crank it down super tight. It won't back off. Now we're good to go up and hook up the hydraulic lines after we run them. Now that we've got the plow installed, we're good to just run the two hoses for the angle cylinder right up here behind, and we'll follow along with these other hoses that run the lift arm through this upper left-hand corner. I like to feed the larger fitting up first, the female, and then the male. So just take a fitting, turn it up towards the sky, we'll pop it through there. There we go. Get that one through. Get this one out of the way first. There we go. Keep that abrasive sleeve on it as it passes through. Don't have it too tight. You want to have it kind of cascade down a little bit so we can zip tie it over here to the other one and keep it back against that wall. Lastly, the male fitting. There we go. Same goes for it with the abrasion sleeve. I want to make sure that's on it as it's passing through the frame. Okay. Couple of zip ties on those and keep them back, and that'll be good. Now we're ready to go up top and hook these up to the valve. All right, so we got these hoses we fed up through the back corner of the hopper. You'll just bring them up and around the hose reel here, and then take your male and female. You can't hook them up incorrectly. Flat face connectors, they just push in to connect. You may have to twist one out of the way to get the other on. Okay. And if you don't like the orientation, you can always pop one out, spin the other one in the way, and then rehook it up. And then we'll just have to run some zip ties to bundle this all up and keep it off the hose reel. We're going to take our LED light bar harness and we'll just take this switch connector for the switch that we're going to add in the dash and feed it up here. We'll go down behind the wires and then up to the very top, and I'll just reach through the side of the dash and get a hold of it so that I can bring it up through the dash so we can make the connection to the rocker switch easier. All right, so now that I've got the harness fed up through here, I'm going to use my hand and just kind of reach around the dash. And we've chosen to pop this light switch out up here at the top. You could take this little sticker and put it anywhere. There's also a hole here that you can feel, and I just took a razor blade and cut the sticker out. There's also a few switch locations down by the pump if you wanted to put it there. But we'll just take this harness, push this up through. This will make it easier to make this connection lock into the switch before popping that switch down into the dash. So you'll want to put it in and up through to where the connector terminals are to the rear, as well as this locking tab, and then match that up to your switch where your metal connections are toward the rear of the machine. And it'll also have this little black plastic pin that goes into a circular hole on the switch. There's only one way to connect it, so you can't really go wrong. So you're going to want to snap this together and make sure that small locking tab goes up and into the switch. Now we can take that whole unit and simply press it down and lock it in. It's friction fit through the dash. Now we can go below and finish up the rest of the wire harness. So I've taken the fuse box cover off. We're going to utilize the bottom right hand port to pick up power, and then the first open ground connection for the ground wire on the ground bar. So they're kind of going to go in here just like that. But first, I'll bring this wire down behind and we'll just bring it up through here to keep everything clean. Take that under. Bring these up. And now we're good to loosen these two screws to make our connections. You've got power connection and the ground connection. So you'll be able to just take this one here, power, run it behind that screw terminal. There's also a little washer there. You're going to want to get it behind that too, just like that. Going to get it snugged up a little bit, and then you can position it how you like it. There we go. Just follow right in there, like ground. Do the same. Come behind that other wire, and then hook it up behind the locking washer on the ground screw terminal. Just like that. Now you can go ahead and put your 10 amp fuse into that slot. Snap the cover back on. And then we're ready to take the last leg of the harness, which is the wire that goes to the light bar. And we'll feed this up under the dash and around the right side of the hopper. Now we've got the power at the back of the hopper ready. This harness from our light bar is going to be able to reach right around there. It's got two studs for the light, and you have 2 holes that are already going to be in your bumper. So we'll be able to just drop this in, take your washers, lock washers and nuts. You'll be able to run them pretty much all the way up by hand, and then we can just snug them up. To snug them up, just use a 1/2 inch deep well socket on a small impact or a hand ratchet, whichever works. Now we can take this harness around the side and hook it up. Take your LED light bar harness, bring it around the side of the hopper, tuck it in there behind the battery box, and then take the harness that we ran up from the dash, make that connection here. When that's all good, you got a couple holes in the hopper frame. We can run a zip tie around, keep this thing out of the way, up tight on the hopper frame side so it doesn't droop down into your spread pattern. And then you can make a zip tie connection over here to hold this harness up away from the motor. All right, so now everything's hooked up. We're good to turn the key on and give our new light a test. Okay, so we're down to the last step. It's going to be installing our snow tires that comes with the Snowplow kit. We've got the tires here. We've got a 1/2 inch impact, the 13/16 socket. This is actually a torque limiting extension at 100 foot-pounds. So if you're interested, you can get a torque limiting extension like that for 100 foot-pounds, which is the torque for the rear lug nuts. Other than that, a standard 13/16 socket will work fine. You will need a deep well to get around the lug nuts. Then I'll also discuss on SG36 and SG42 models, you'll receive a 2-inch wheel spacer to get that big tire to stick out enough to clear the machine. So we run the same size rear snow tire for all plow systems, no matter if it's a 3642 or the larger 4652 chassis. Now we're good to jack up the back of the machine, this side, one side at a time under the foot plate, change these wheels out. All right, so if this was a 36 or 42 model, we would be utilizing these rear wheel spacers. They're a 2-inch spacer. They will come with an additional 4 lug nuts. These lug nuts may or may not be, depending on the manufacturer of the spacer, they may or may not be the same size of socket as our lug nuts, the 13/16. So just grab whichever socket fits these to install them. This one happens to be 3/4. Same thread, so we always make sure they are the same 1/2 by 20 thread. So the lug nuts are interchangeable in that aspect, as far as they will both thread on to either one. So you would just simply take your spacer, put it onto the 4 studs, run those 4 additional lug nuts down on there, tighten those up, and then take the new big snow tire and put that on and tighten it up to the 4 studs that are now 2 inches further out. Okay, so now we got the standard tire off the rear. We're good to take our snow tire, roll it up here, and get that on. Always start these by hand. Never start a lug nut with your impact. You're just asking for trouble, cross-threading it. I like to just snug up the bottom and the top, just to make sure that rim is sitting like it should be. Just snug them all down before you torque them. Like I mentioned before, this is a torque limiting extension, so it will only allow me to put 100 foot-pounds on these. At that point, the shaft will start to twist. So If you don't have that, just tighten them up by hand, drop it to the ground, then you can use a standard torque wrench to put them at 100 foot-pounds. All right, so we got this side on. We're good to go to the other side of the machine and put that snow tire on to finish up the installation. Okay, so whether you are installing the plow system or a rake, your unit should be fully functioning and ready to get out there and do some work now. For additional resources, check us out on social media or visit our website at steelgreenmfg.com.